Hi everyone, my name is Brittany Anderson, and this is my informative presentation for SPK 201. This presentation is going to be on La Dia de los Muertos, which in English means the Day of the Dead. The purpose of this presentation is going to be to provide my viewers with detailed information on the Day of the Dead, such as where and when it's celebrated, who it's celebrated by, and why they celebrate it. I'm going to do my best to do this in an effective and entertaining way, so I hope you enjoy this presentation. First, let's start talking about where the holiday is celebrated. Predominantly, the Day of the Dead is celebrated in central and southern regions of Mexico. It's also celebrated in other Spanish-speaking countries throughout the world, such as in Europe. Some examples of these countries that celebrate the Day of the Dead or holidays that are very similar to it include Brazil and Spain. Next, let's talk about when the holiday is celebrated. When the holiday was first originated in the 15th century, it was originally celebrated in the summertime. However, after the Spanish colonization of Mexico in the 16th century, the holiday's timeline was moved to the fall. The reason it was moved to the fall was that so the Day of the Dead would more closely align with the Catholic holiday known as All Saints' Eve. That's what the United States knows as Halloween now. So, officially, the Day of the Dead is now celebrated on November 1st. The timeline is that on October 31st at nighttime, people believe that spirits can officially travel back into our world only on that night, and they believe that they can stay all the way until November 2nd before they return from where they came from. Now let's talk about why this holiday is celebrated, why it exists today still. The Day of the Dead is a reason for people to celebrate the lives of their loved ones that have passed on, rather than mourning them. People that celebrate this holiday believe that mourning the dead is an insult to their memory. Now let's talk about how they celebrate La Dia de los Muertos. People make altars for their dead loved ones to use as passageways to travel back into this world. These altars are usually heavily decorated with all of the dead person's favorite things. Let's talk about the food that's eaten on the Day of the Dead. There is bread of the dead, which is known as Muertos, that is usually served as the main dish. They also eat fruit, nuts, and other traditional Mexican dishes. Food is placed on the altars for the dead as an offering, also known as an ofrenda, according to National Geographic. This food is meant to be offered to the dead ones, so after the celebrations are over, people don't usually eat the food, or if they do, they believe it has no nutritional value to them because their dead loved ones should have eaten the spirit of the food. Now let's talk about some of the dress and makeup that you see on the Day of the Dead. People usually wear really bright, bold patterned clothing. The bright colors signify happiness and celebrations rather than mourning. When people mourn, they usually wear black, but since this is a day of celebrating the lives of those who have passed, people wear bright colors. I have some examples of some things that people might wear that have some of the typical patterns you might see on the Day of the Dead. This shirt is covered in sugar skulls. This is what you might see people wearing or decor of for the sugar skull. And I also have this shirt, which has one giant sugar skull on it, and that's something you might also see. It's a very bright colored shirt, and that signifies the celebration. People also wear heavily makeup, typically on La Dia de los Muertos. The makeup is meant to mimic the image of a skeleton. The makeup consists of all white face paint throughout the face, and then they use dark black paint to hollow out their eyes and the hollows of their cheeks, and this is meant to give them the appearance of a skeleton. Now let's talk about some of the decorations and decor you might see on La Dia de los Muertos. As I already mentioned, you see a lot of sugar skulls and skeletons. Those are known as calaveras, and those signify the dead. You also see a lot of bright flowers on La Dia de los Muertos. The flower of the dead, according to people who celebrate this holiday, is the marigold. So you'll see the altar is typically covered in marigolds or other bright red and yellow and orange flowers. Here is an example of a really bright colored flower that you might see on the altar for one of the dead loved ones on the Dia de los Muertos. This concludes my presentation on the Dia de los Muertos. I hope you found it both informative and entertaining, and I hope that you find a time in your life when you're able to partake in the celebration of it to learn more about it. Thank you.